Next, this is the original inside of St. Patrick's Church. And some of the important things is these windows up here. We just recently, they were all covered up, and we uncovered this. And there's a few other things, but this is what the inside looked like. Okay, next. Now, we went through three renovations of our church.
And it's original.
From its original, yeah. First, they redid all the windows, the stained glass windows, and similar to what St. Mary's did before it burned. Similar, same thing. And then the second thing is, Pat mentioned earlier, we didn't have a bathroom in our church. And so probably like 10 years ago, I don't know.
5, 6.
I don't know. Approximately 10 years ago, they built an addition to the side of it and provided an indoor church or indoor bathroom for the first time.
2 of them. There's actually 2.
Wow.
And my wife will tell you, when we got married, she changed in the choir loft. So, because there was no bathroom in it. Okay, and then lastly, they completely redid the inside of the church with paint and new pews. And one of the things they did is restore this Heiner's organ. And
It had been painted. All of the pipes had been painted.
I don't know, you can kind of see that.
That's about the sound across the few
And they started cleaning
Yeah.
it.
And it's the original, so. Okay, next.
Built by Germans in Pekin, Illinois.
That's right, Germans.
I heard that.
Yeah, this is what it looks like today, and that's not more than 2 years ago, is it? Yeah.
Yeah, they're just, no. It's still not quite finished, but pretty close. It's got all new pews. Like Gary said, the windows in the very back. My age can remember those windows, but then they got covered up. And when they started to do the cleaning and restoration of all the stained glass windows, we all brought up the fact that those windows were there. And Father Lively was here at the time, and he said, nah. So they sent somebody up there, they started looking, oh yeah, they're there. They were a total mess. And I guess they've had to work with pictures to get them back to the original, as it were. The pews have been replaced, the carpet's been replaced. Obviously the painting has been replaced. The lighting is not the original. It was in the original church.
They had balls.
They had balls that hung down here. And it was so poorly lit, you couldn't see to do anything. It's probably so you felt like you were praying, I don't know. A local artisan did the lectern, the altar, and the shelving.
Wooden parts.
The wooden parts, and that part is awesome. This crucifix used to hang here. Can't remember his name. Anyway, it's over there now. The baptistry fountain belongs in the back of the church, and it's the one I was baptized in. So it's really old. I believe it's granite. It's not huge. And they say 4 men can barely lift it. It is, and it should be in the back of the church. There's a St. John's window back there that depicts Christ's baptism. So that's still under discussion. with big St. Patrick's windows over here. Our windows are, I think, beautiful, but then so are St. Mary's. Our church was earth tones. St. Mary's Church was the most beautiful blue, just beautiful blue and white. But depends on your attitude. Now, do we have?
I got some more.
So did they cover the windows originally because they moved the altar facing the people?
No,
I think so.
they got damaged.
Oh, they did.
I think they
And
did
then they
too.
covered it. No, the windows that they found,
Mm-hmm.
they put like a wall or something there.
Yeah.
So did they do that when they moved?
I don't think so. I think they were damaged. They were really, really damaged.
Yeah, but
And so if they would have put the wall up and the outside covering, they wouldn't have been those pieces. It's my opinion. Gary differs.
yeah, I think they did when they moved the altar forward. They built that wall.
So you just have to take the German or the Irish version.
Okay, next. This was a big display we had once before. It had Heiner's Oregon and a lot of other stuff, and I would love to have this, but I lost it. I think it's at the church. Next. Okay. Yep.
We failed to mention, do you have the bell tower later?
Yep.
Excuse me?
Okay.
He changed things on me.
A member of our church
Sure, but you can't trust.
got the idea of looking for the architect of the church. And I'm going to try to think it's a German name. Stadaher. He was from Quincy, Illinois. And this is his history. And over in here you can see he donated all of his architecture and drawings to the University of Illinois Library. So one of our guys decided to go over and see if he can find them. And so next, he found them. And so this is only one of the drawings, but I think you can kind of see that the church has no basement. It's it only has I think this is the back where the furnace is and stuff, but there is no real basement to it.
The story is there's a crawl space underneath the altar. You start there and you go back to what we call the back of the church. And that's all the pieces of stained glass as they built the stained glass windows on site. I have not crawled that. That's what I've heard.
I don't look too good. In any case, one other thing. The church ended up exactly reverse of these plans. So if you look at the front, what you see in the front in these drawings, the baptistry is on the right, but our baptistry is on the left. So this is a mirror image. It was made that way. However, the same guy that discovered this went to Ohio. There's another church exactly like ours, built in this town in Ohio. And he took pictures of it. It was kind of neat because it's exactly the same except reversed.
What town?
I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't remember,
Okay.
but he went there and seen it, so. Okay.
Don't have it next year, but I think.
This is St. Patrick's School, and my wife went there, and.
It did have a bathroom, such as it was.
And, I don't know, you want to tell the story about the tube?
Well, she was mentioning on the second floor, there was a big metal tube
I remember.
that the first, second was on the first, third, fourth. You went upstairs in the fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So the 5, 6, 7, 8 had to go down the tube in case of a fire or a fire escape things. What do they call them? Fire alarm. So, y'all remember the nuns had long black gowns? And one of my friends caught one of the nuns as she was coming out and she's yelling, "Don't look! Don't look!" And the habit went clear over everything.
Also, and you see, in 1961-62, both of the St. Mary's and St. Pat's kind of went defunct because, I don't know if you remember, there was a big fire in Chicago. I can't remember the school, but it burned.
Holy Angels.
Pardon?
Yeah.
Holy Angels.
Yes, it burned down and, I don't know how many they lost. It was bad. So they decided at that time that these schools had to go. And, okay, next. Oh, I thought it was gonna be Carroll Cal, but okay, I got something mixed up.
Just go to the next one and go back.
There's also, it says that we're 100-year history of the BVM nuns. And this is like I don't know, 8, 9, 10 pages long. And right down in here, there's a neat story here. And she had some more, but I'll just tell you this one. Father Toohey asked him to come, the BVM nuns to come down.
From Ireland.
So they come, and they came before he had a house for them. So he was, well, what do we do? So we put the BVM nuns in Mr. Father Toohey's house for a while. So and that looked kind of strange to happen, but it was done. And there's a few more stories, but anyhow, this is a great history of the BVM nuns. And if you go to the next one, next slide, Bill. She went so far as to list all the sisters. I think they're, when you're Coogan, let's see, I want to say, I seen it in there.
Do you have years on those?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Here's the Coogan, here's the.
Is that the enrollment?
No, it's the sisters' names.
Oh.
I've seen some early ones
They're
here,
the
so.
big white,
What was your notes?
we were a Franciscan.
Do they have some now there?
No, they're gone.
I remember when we moved from,
Well,
Well, we have a couple nuns.
Sister Lori does the music.
Yeah.
when we moved here from Iowa
Margaret's there now.
in the end of '48, I can remember the nuns with the black, outfits and everything. And 'cause when we lived in Iowa, at this little town, there was a huge Catholic church. And that was my first introduction to Catholics and nuns. 'Cause I used to take piano lessons. It's the only one. And then when we came here, I thought, oh, they're over here too. I mean, it was all new, I was a Lutheran, so that was all new to me. But I just wondered if we had still some there. So you got one?
There's one
They
now.
don't
was
have habits
music.
anymore.
No, they don't have habits, you wouldn't.
No, I know.
They
Yeah.
had, the BBMs had the big white pieces and the Franciscans were smaller. And when my kids were in school, and you maybe all remember it, they started letting the nuns wear dark clothes, suits and stuff. And we went to a dinner, my husband and I, appreciation because I volunteered at the school. And I told Bob, I says, don't make any wisecrack jokes next to somebody dressed in a black suit. That night they came in colors.
A lot of them still, I think, wear street clothes, but they wear a little
Different hat.
kind of
Covering.
a half veil type thing.
Okay, Next.
Okay.
This would be St. Pat's School. I don't remember what year, but
Looks like
one
fifth and
person,
sixth
I don't
or
know,
something.
if you know Tony Vespa, anybody?
Yes.
Yes.
I think he's in this picture. I wanna say maybe down there.
High school. Yes, he was he was a good friend of mine. He
That looks like-
yeah.
Well, Vespa's
He
lived
married
next
my
door to,
Yeah.
Gaber.
Yeah.
yes.
Okay, next. Then this is the new school that was built at that time when they both closed. And my wife's sister went there, but she went to the old school, so just a few years. And anyhow, it was 60,
And
63.
I did not realize there was a big picture inside of Carol,
Charles E.
Charles, that signed the Declaration of Independence. That's who the school was dedicated to.
They started taking pledges for it in 1960. And I remember that because I was graduating from high school and my mother pledged. And she said, you went to a Catholic school all through grade school, so I'm pledging to build a new one.
Okay,
We
next.
desperately needed it.
Okay, this is all 4 churches now. And the churches now are under the Holy Family. Here's the bad news. And I wasn't going to bring it up, but just recently the diocese has decided that our church can't mission these churches. And it's over the next few months that's going to happen. A couple stories. The two priests we have service all of these. And the one is, I'll tell you a good story from, he's from Kenya. And he says, well, 4 churches, 3 churches, that's no problem. He has 51 churches in his, in Kenya that he goes to by motorbike. So 4 churches were nothing compared to 51. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm gonna leave this now to the woman.
I guess that must be it.
Okay. I think a lot of you know that I am so old that I go back to the beginning of time here. Scully was in a bar fight in Ireland, and James and William Hickey befriended him. They came to the United States. Scully came to the United States and connected with the boys, brought them to Prairie Township, and they worked for Mr. Scully, either getting the leases, setting up the farms, digging all of the work that needed to be done because it was basically a swampland. So my original great-great, James and Mary Maher, she's buried in Ireland. James is in Holy Cross. Go all the way down here, they're all in Holy Cross. So I've got quite a lineage out there. When I go, I guess we'll all be singing When the Saints Come Marching In. Okay, any questions? And there's she was a McNally, her mother was a McKevitt, they're all there. The Denny's is my mother's side, and we're not quite sure where they came from. I'm still working on that. And then Gary and I and our daughter and her family will also be buried there. So by the time we're all said and done, will pretty much own the cemetery, I guess. And my grandson, a couple years ago, he says, I want to meet the ancestors. I said, I don't understand. You know, I want to go see the ancestors. Finally, I understood he wanted to go to the cemetery. So I took him by all these people and a lot of aunts and uncles along the way. And he says, is there anybody we're not related to? And I was standing next to Mr. Goldsmith's stone. And I thought, surely not. I said, maybe this man. Guess what?
You're related.
We're related. At one point or another, the original Hickey family was connected to every church in Logan County. So I guess that's a thing to be proud of. I
You
don't
mean
know.
every Catholic church or all churches? All churches or every Catholic?
All the Catholic churches.
There's one to the next.
Okay, the next. The steeple on our church no longer exists. They said it was hit by lightning and it would cost a fortune to repair it. It's too bad. I think we're the only church that doesn't have a steeple in Logan County. Anyway, the bell that was in there, Gary referred to, was in the little white church. And that has my great-grandfather's name on it. Coming up. There it is. This is the restored, and it's in somebody's barn, and they're hoping to put it out front of the church in some kind of a little building, and it will be rung again. But at this point, we have no bell and no bell tower.
The old bells up there. Next one.
Okay, next one shows the old bell.
And you can see the name.
Okay. Right there. They, we did the history on this, found the original company and everything, and they told them how to have it restored. So that's cool. They're older than I am.
That's pretty old.
Yeah, pretty old. Anybody got any questions?
More.
Oh, one more.
Couple more.
Couple more, Bill.
That one's-
Oh, okay. John and Ellen, which is what's here and here, donated one of the big stained glass windows.
That's it.
And that's it.
We're done.
Anybody got any questions? Yes.
He does right there.
Oh, just a minute. Okay.
I worked at the Lincoln State School from 1963 to 1972, and it seems to me they had their own Roman Catholic priest by the name of Caruville.
It could be, because they went out to LDC.
Yeah.
Did he have any connection at all with
Now,
either?
the later years, our church sent the priest to LDC, as well as the hospital and the nursing homes. When Gary and I were doing the history work, we found a bunch of artifacts here and there, thither and yon, from LDC, and we put those in the school. There's a cabinet, and it's got some chalice and some linens and things like that are there from LDC. They were.
He has a question over here.
Those churches are they gonna close them little churches then, or what?
Well, that's a good question. I think that's up to them. It looks like it's kind of sad. If I was in that same place like Elkhart, it's, as old as it is, and it's nice in there.
Well,
They
just
refurbished
refurbished
it.
it.
I know.
Well,
Well,
there's a
so
lot of money in there.
So did we, you know.
I don't know, I suppose they could, I don't know what they would do. If it was me, I'd go look up for a priest someplace maybe.
Tanzania, okay.
I don't know what
I
they're
don't
going to
remember for an answer for that, but you kept always saying, well, this church was moved here, this church. How in them days did they move a church?
Oh, they used to move buildings all the time.
Must have had a lot of horses.
Yes, sir,
Yep.
and a lot of manpower.
But the movement,
That's what they did.
It was gone. That's
And
what Phil was saying.
Do you know where Elkhart's church is? It's not huge.
We've been by it.
yeah.
So I could see moving that one. Could you move one of the brick ones? You know,
It just seems odd to me.
They say brick houses are easier to move than.
Gary's family's from Minnesota, and they move stuff
Could
all
be,
the
I don't
time.
know.
It's, I don't know, I've seen pictures of them.
Gary, Pat, I always thought it was a good story for the Catholic churches that they were responsible for the first hospital to come to town,
Well,
1884 to 1886.
I was gonna start into that, and then I said, oh, well, then I have to get into the KC.
Was that St.
But you're
Clair?
right.
Yeah, St. Pat's did St. Clair's, and the Germans did the Deaconess. They hired there's a lot of history on both of those. Like Gary said, you might want to have another program. Yes, sir.
Back when St. Patrick's and St. Mary's schools were going strong, and I graduated in '57 from St. Patrick's. 4th Street was basically a battle zone in there. I had no contact. St. Mary's didn't come across. St.
You
Patrick's
didn't
didn't
walk
go across
across
it.
the street to
Uh,
talk to anybody from
no.
St. Pat's.
There was a DMZ zone there.
Yeah, it was. We were
Now they
told-
are some of my best friends.
Yeah, we were told that you could only go to St. Mary's under absolute emergency circumstances.
Oh.
I don't know what they were told.
I remember one thing about St. Mary's Church, and this was a very beautiful church. And I think when I was public defender, I think he didn't tell me he torched it, but I just have a feeling I know who did it. It was a young guy, about 14 years old at the time. But
How old?
Uh,
about 14, I think, 13, 14 years old, something like that. A very, very beautiful church, but I still remember Father Hinkle.
Monsignor.
And Father Hinkle, I think, was born in this country.
Monsignor.
Or Monsignor, yeah. I think he was born in this country. He had such a heavy German accent. If you went from St. Patrick's down there, you didn't know whether he was clearing his throat or giving a sermon.
It's okay, you should have the guy from Tanzania now.
But it was very hard to understand.
And we have a really hard time. That's what you say.
When Monsignor would say, and so on, it was and Swan. Swan.
Father Simon.
And at that time, we had 3 and 4 priests per church.
Yeah.
Now we've got 2 for 4 churches. So,
People from Moline that are in the Peoria Diocese, and they have lost some of their churches.
I understand y'all know Nancy Saul. They moved up by Bloomington, and their church is going too. They're closing down all over the country. It's a very sad situation that our country's in right now for,
This COVID business, when it hit, and the diocese said, well, you don't have to go to church. Tune in the radio, sit at home, read a book, say a prayer. Then once they said you don't have to go to church, that's like saying, well, you don't have to eat fish on Friday anymore. People did not come back to church.
It happened to all the churches.
Yeah,
all
it
the
did.
churches.
Yeah, they did.
It's not
That's
just,
the
yeah,
Catholic
everybody I've talked to in the
Right, all the
community
churches
is
have
the
said
same
that.
situation. When I was in school at St. Patrick's, we had, the road went right in the middle of where they've got the school now. And that road eventually, they got petitioned to close. But we had the girls' playground and the boys' playground. And ours was grass and mud, and theirs was cinder. So they decided, okay, we'll switch. I still have cinders. Wasn't a good switch. Much better.
So, have you tried to get information from the diocese
For
in Peoria about your churches and stuff?
the diocese is telling us,
I mean, about the old ones and the like.
They had a big, that was a study they had for about 2 years.
no, he's asking about the old church.
They studied this for about 2 years, I guess, at the
We
diocese.
could have the four.
We-
Supposedly had
rotate once.
local people get their information, and they come up with this decision, so.
Anybody else have any questions or comments?
I kind of have a question. When St. Mary's burned, all the records from, I'm assuming, the school records and all the records from the church went to St. Pat's. Would they have the list of all the kids that attended school at St. Mary's or St. Pat's?
If you can find it, hon, they got it.
No, I
If you
think
could
I showed you.
There was?
I got those in a file at home, but I can get, they're all there. I
But
can
the
give,
church would have the records of.
But you have them.
well, the church does too, but I copied them. Yep. Yeah, that's where I got them.
Now, we are getting younger families in, which is a good thing. I think a lot of it's because they want to come from the public schools as well and go to private school. But at this time, we're just getting too old to do all the work anymore. And until the money comes back,
Demographics has something to do
yeah,
with it.
the demographics and, there's, look at all the industries, the businesses that have left. There isn't the population anymore.
So there's no money.
There's no money, there's no people, I understand, but I don't.
Your head understands, but your heart can't do nothing about it.
And the younger people, they do want to send their children to parochial schools.
Yeah.
Because of what's happening in the
Right.
public.
So that's what I figured,
But so many of
once
them
all
don't have the
this,
money to send their
the
kids
COVID
to the
stuff,
parochial schools.
and the parents saw what they were teaching them in schools, I figured the parochial schools would, increase.
I think they are.
I know homeschooling has.
But a lot of people can't afford the parochial
No.
school.
No, it's very expensive. Judge Coogan's got an interesting book here with the nuns' pictures and the habits and where the original church and stuff is. Pictures of that. That wasn't very grammatically correct, was it? That's okay, deal with it.
Well, you gotta take your age into factor.
Yeah,
You gotta take your age.
Yeah,
into
take my age into account. There you go. Anyway, we thank you, and if you have any other questions, see Gary.
That's what I-
Thank you very much.